Welcome to the deep dive. Think of this as, well, your cheat code for understanding what really matters.
Right.
You send us the sources, we pull out the core insights, all tailored for you, the learner.
And today, we're digging into the story of someone named Hrithik. We've got these excerpts from a text about his self-improvement journey.
Yeah, and it all kicked off because he read this book, How to Be Disciplined by Sheldon.
Mm-hmm.
So our mission here isn't just, a book report. It's about extracting the practical stuff Hrithik learns early on.
The real actionable wisdom.
Exactly. Things you can actually use if you're trying to build more discipline yourself, like a concentrated shot of how to.
And we'll basically follow his path, right?
Yeah.
Through those first 5 key lessons he tackles.
There's a clear goals,
Developing a routine.
embracing self-control, practicing mindfulness.
And learning from failures. Crucial stuff. And it all kind of leads up to the big one. Consistency.
Okay, let's jump in. First step for Hrithik, setting clear goals. The text sort of paints him as feeling a bit adrift.
Yeah, that comes through.
Joke's okay, but this feeling of, not quite hitting his potential. These big, fuzzy dreams, start a business, get good at digital marketing, but no real plan. Sound familiar to anyone?
Oh, absolutely. It's very relatable, isn't it? And what's interesting is how the book acts as this trigger for him.
Mm-hmm.
It spells out this basic idea that goals aren't just destinations. They actually fuel motivation. They make it easier to focus, to move forward.
Right.
I mean, there's actual psychology behind it. Specific goals light up the brain's reward centers, makes them more compelling. Hrithik seemed genuinely surprised by this simple idea, which probably means it resonated deeply.
Totally. He reads that line, if you don't know where you were going, you'll never get there, and it's like, bam.
Quick.
Yeah, a real forehead slap moment. He realizes he's been operating on wishes, not targets.
And the key thing is he acts on it
Right.
right away. He doesn't just nod along.
Yeah.
He finds a quiet spot, gets out a pen and paper, and just starts writing.
His first attempts are pretty concrete, too. Fitness, lose 10 kilos. And get serious about digital marketing. 3 advanced courses, read 5 books a month. That's specific.
And you can almost feel his relief, can't you? Just getting it down on paper. It channels all that mental clutter.
Definitely. But it's not all career and workouts. Later, he realizes, wait, relationships matter too, and adds calling his parents every week.
Which is a great point. It shows that discipline, or maybe well-defined goals, should cover different parts of life, right? Not just work or the gym.
Yeah, it's holistic.
And writing them down, that transforms them from vague hopes into things you can actually plan around.
Okay, so he's got the goals written down. Then comes the first hurdle, the alarm clock.
Ah, yes, the classic battle.
He aims for 6 a.m., hits snooze, wakes up at 7:30, and he's instantly annoyed with himself.
And this is so important. The text, drawing from the book, it doesn't pretend discipline is easy or instant.
Right.
It acknowledges setbacks. That line Hrithik reads, failure is a part of the process. Focus on getting back on track.
Yeah.
That's gold for anyone starting out.
It's like saying it's okay to mess up, and he really internalizes that. Instead of giving up,
The depth.
he makes this big chart for his wall, goals listed, checkboxes ready. Ticking things off must feel good, right? That little dopamine hit.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that makes those big goals seem less daunting. Breaks them down.
Like the fitness goal becomes 15 minutes of jogging this week.
Yeah.
Manageable.
Exactly. And notice he's actively engaging, rereading the chapter, figuring out how to apply it. He's not passive.
Okay, goals defined, charts up. But now for the daily grind, building a routine. Lesson 2.
Mm-hmm.
Hrithik knows this is a weak spot. The text implies his life was pretty unstructured before. Sleep schedule all over the place.
And the book argues that routine is the foundation. It's how habits get built, which reinforces discipline.
Structure.
Yeah, structure.
Okay.
Cuts down on decision fatigue, allocates time for specific things, boosts productivity. He seems to get that it's not about being boring. It's about being intentional.
So he goes all in, sketches out his quote-unquote perfect routine.
Laughs.
Yeah, the ideal. 6 a.m. wake up, work blocks, meal times, evening learning slot, bed by 10 p.m. It sounds intense.
It does.
But is there really a perfect routine straight off? Isn't that a lot of pressure? What if you can't stick to it perfectly at first?
That's a really sharp point. And the text shows that reality, right? He immediately struggles with the snooze button again. Old habits die hard. But remembering his commitment, plus the book's encouragement about small slips, gets him up and moving. It's about making progress, not being perfect on day one.
And it says that even though it was tough initially, he starts finding a rhythm. Actually starts enjoying it after a few days.
And gets tangible results.
Yeah. increased productivity. His manager even notices, comments on his improved work. That's real feedback.
And what I find really interesting is how his idea of routine evolves.
Yeah.
A friend invites him to a movie,
Oh, yeah.
and his first thought is, oh no, my schedule.
Right.
But then he realizes, wait a minute.
It can't be a prison.
Exactly.
Oh,
A
sure.
routine needs some flex. It needs balance. So he starts scheduling in free time, too.
Yeah.
It's about making it work for him.
That's so key. It's a tool to support your goals, not chains to tie you down. The book even mentions allowing for the unexpected.
Precisely. So the routine helps him get organized, hit deadlines, feel more in control. But as the text hints, that's just one piece of the puzzle.
Right. Routine's getting there, but then distractions, temptations.
Wow.
Which brings us neatly to lesson 3, embracing self-control.
The constant battle.
The book lays it out flat. Self-control is essential. Resisting short-term pleasures is the foundation. And Hrithik's like, yep, that's me. I struggle with this.
It's universal, isn't it? That pull between what feels good now and what gets you to your goals later. Distractions are sneaky.
They really are.
And Hrithik zeroes in on his main culprit.
The smartphone.
And he doesn't mess around.
Yeah.
Deletes time-wasting apps, sets screen time limits,
Proper digital hygiene.
checks social media once a day, 15 minutes max. He mentions how hard that was at first.
It shows how effective it is to name your triggers and then create concrete rules. That line, every time you resist a desire, you come one step closer to becoming the person you want to become.
Yeah, that's powerful.
It's about consciously choosing his goals over those fleeting urges, learning to say no.
It's like flexing your willpower muscle, making it stronger. And it's not just the phone. There's that party invitation from friends. He has to actively choose his long-term plan over instant fun and socializing. That's tough. Worrying about FOMO or what people think.
It definitely requires a shift in how you see things, realizing that sometimes discipline means doing things differently in the short term.
And the payoff.
The sense of accomplishment the next day, that reinforces the choice. He even applies it to small things, like resisting dessert,
The sweets test.
by reminding himself of his fitness goals, keeping the why in mind when temptation strikes.
It's connecting the small daily choices to the big picture. The book advises keeping goals visible, notebook, charts, diary.
Constant reminders.
And Hrithik actually does that, puts them where he can see them. It really drives home that self-control isn't about, like, total deprivation. It's about conscious choice. Asking yourself, does this move me closer or further away? And he manages to stick to his healthy habits even when work gets demanding with a new project. That shows real growth in self-management.
Okay, so goals, routines, self-control, making progress. But his mind is still buzzing. That leads to lesson 4, practicing mindfulness.
Right.
He notices that even when he's trying to work, his thoughts drift. Past stuff, future worries, leading to anxiety.
Super common, even for disciplined people. The mind just wanders. Mindfulness offers tools for that.
How does the book frame it?
As being present. Focused attention on now. Observing thoughts and feelings without getting swept away. It helps reduce anxiety, improves focus, decision-making, productivity too.
And Hrithik thinks, maybe this can help my restless mind, so he starts meditating, focusing on his breath.
And immediately hits the classic monkey mind. Thoughts jumping all over.
Yes.
That monkey analogy is so good because it's relatable. Mindfulness isn't about stopping thoughts. It's about noticing them. Gently guiding attention back.
Like training a puppy.
Exactly. And Hrithik's persistence, even when his mind wandered, that's key. You just keep practicing.
And it starts paying off, seemingly everywhere. Better concentration at work, staying calm during a stressful project deadline, even being a better listener with his mom. That's a wide range of benefits.
It really highlights how mindfulness boosts both, like work effectiveness and personal well-being. Staying calm under pressure, invaluable.
Totally.
And being present with people, that strengthens relationships. The quote, "The present moment is the only place where life truly exists." That nails it.
It's about actually being here, not lost in yesterday or tomorrow. Hrithik starts applying it beyond meditation, like really noticing a sunset.
Moving from autopilot to active engagement.
Yeah, appreciating the small things.
It helps him build resilience, approach things with a more centered view, a really valuable tool in his toolkit.
Okay, but life happens. Even with goals, routines, self-control, mindfulness, setbacks occur. Which brings us to lesson 5, learning from failures.
The tough one.
Hrithik puts in all this effort on a project, plans meticulously, and it fails. He's angry, starts doubting himself. Understandable.
Absolutely. And this is a critical moment. The book hits him with, failure is not the end, it's a stepping stone.
Powerful.
It stresses that real discipline includes learning from mistakes, not just avoiding them or getting crushed by them. Seeing failure as data, basically, an opportunity.
He struggles at first, though. Feels like all that work was wasted.
Natural reaction.
But then instead of just stewing, he steps back, analyzes what went wrong, not just who was to blame.
That's the shift.
Finds concrete things, needed more check-ins with the team, didn't delegate well.
And the book's advice there is key.
Mhm.
Reflect. Not to blame,
Right.
but to improve. It's about a growth mindset. Failures are feedback. So Hrithik commits to doing better next time, reminds himself one failure doesn't define him. It's a huge mental shift.
And he actually applies these lessons to his next project. Better communication, better problem solving. He starts seeing failure differently.
More like a challenge.
Yeah, something to overcome, not to fear.
And the text gives that smaller example too, oversleeping one morning, instead of letting it ruin the day.
He gets back on track.
Uses the book's advice. He even makes a dedicated lessons learned section on his chart.
Oh,
Formalizes the reflection process.
nice. And his manager notices the improvement after that first failed project. Says he handled the next one much better. That's validation.
It really proves the point about resilience being built through failures, not in spite of them.
Absolutely. Analyzing setbacks, learning, adapting, that builds strength. He goes from blaming himself to actively looking for the lessons. That's real progress.
It's a fantastic transformation.
So, okay, we've seen Hrithik set goals, build routines, work on self-control, practice mindfulness, learn from failure. But what ties it all together? The glue.
Consistency.
That's the final overarching piece. The book hammers this home. Real change comes from small, persistent, daily actions.
And consistency is often the hardest part, isn't it? Motivation gets you started, maybe.
Right.
But consistency keeps you going, especially when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
Hrithik admits this was, and probably still is, a major challenge.
So he doubles down, makes his routine even more non-negotiable, does something towards his goals every day, tired or not.
Amidst to the process.
He even tackles a similar project to the one that failed before, but this time with relentless focus, sticking to the plan day in, day out.
And the result.
Success.
Yeah.
He nails the project, gets praise from his manager. It really shows the power of just showing up consistently.
It's the compound effect, right?
Yeah.
Small actions adding up over time, not just big heroic efforts now and then.
Exactly. And it spills over. He sees results in fitness, his reading habit sticks. Even his friends notice a big change in him, his achievements, his whole vibe.
It's like the book says, discipline is not the goal, it is the journey.
Keep going, and you will find that success becomes a habit, not a destination. Love that.
It really reframes it. It's about the ongoing practice, not just reaching some endpoint.
So let's quickly recap those initial lessons Hrithik grappled with. Setting clear goals gives you direction.
Developing a routine builds the structure.
Embracing self-control helps you navigate those inevitable distractions.
Practicing mindfulness keeps you focused and calm.
Learning from failures turns setbacks into fuel for growth.
And underpinning it all, the power of consistency makes it all actually happen through those daily steps.
They all seem to feed into each other, don't they?
Definitely. It's not just isolated tactics. They create this positive cycle, moving beyond just grit and willpower to something more sustainable, integrated.
Absolutely. Which leads us to our final thought for you, the learner.
Mm-hmm.
Think about these foundational lessons we've explored through Hrithik's journey. Which one clicks with you right now? Where are your goals?
Yeah, what resonates?
Maybe identify just one small, consistent thing you could start doing today in that area, just one step.
And as you look at your own sources, your own interests, consider how these core principles, goals, routine, self-control, mindfulness, learning from failure, consistency might apply. How could they unlock new insights or strategies for your own deep dives?